Hey gang, it's Steve with Guitar Center. We're at NAMM 2024. We're hanging out in the Taylor Suite with Mr. Andy Powers himself. How you doing, Andy?
I'm doing quite well. I've got coffee in my cup. The sun came out again, so we're good.
All right, so we're going to check out some really exciting stuff here. It's the 50th anniversary of Taylor guitars. We've got a collection of guitars, and then we've also got a brand new amplifier. So let's start with the guitars first, and a bunch of Grand Auditorium models we've got here, yeah?
Yeah, here in this case, I mean, the Grand Auditorium shape is something that was launched as one of our anniversary shapes, a couple decades ago now, and it's become one of our most popular styles of guitar. And so for our 50th anniversary, yeah, there's a lot of different guitars coming and a lot of things that we get to commemorate that milestone with. This would be one of them. This is a Builders Edition AD14ce, but now with a reclaimed redwood top, so it's a really special piece. We've got an AD14ce, so an American Dream guitar that's a Grand Auditorium for the first time and with a cutaway for the first time. Really cool. Yeah, that's a personal favorite of mine. It's a lot of guitar for what it costs. It's like, man, this is a cool instrument. So we have a piece like that. We have our 314, that's another commemorative piece. So we're thrilled. And there'll be more different models throughout the year because it's an ongoing celebration for us.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, the 14 series is wildly popular with players, so it makes sense that would be honored at the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, it's one of our hallmark styles because it hits that just right spot for a lot of players. It's not too big, not too small. You can play it as a fingerstyle instrument, a strummer. You could lead a rock band with it. You can write your songs with it. It fits in that kind of just right zone for most players.
Yeah, and so, in the 50th anniversary sense, you think back, how long ago was that? Oh, circa 74, and now we have this amplifier. So can you talk to us a little bit about the development there?
Sure. The development actually originated back in the pandemic. Right at the beginning when life felt real scary, everything was shut down. Bob and I would come back to our shop and go, "Ooh, what are we going to do? What are you going to do? I don't know. What are you going to do? I'm going to go build something. I've got a bunch of wood in the warehouse across the street. I'm going to make a guitar." Step number one, like, what do you want to do? He's like, the wood that's not big enough for guitar. How about I go make an amplifier? I go, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. Nice. Well, I'll work on this guitar. You work on that amp. Let's talk tomorrow. There's nobody else around, so it's you and I. And so we started developing this amplifier and went, man, it's actually really fun. I like this thing because it was designed not so much just from its technical merits, it's great sounding amplifier, great dynamic range, good headroom, all kinds of cool stuff. But its development was guided by our ears. We simply chose what we liked the sound of, what we liked the look of. I want something that doesn't look like an appliance. I want it to be comfortable sitting in my living room and look like it was done with intention. It's got a purpose to it. I love to look at things that are beautiful. And so we're building these out of guitar woods, genuine tone woods. And like I said, the development was guided by our ears. So we'd choose speakers, we choose chassis, all these different components go, yeah, I like the sound of this. Maybe the technical specs work out on paper, maybe they don't, but I love the way it sounds. This is working great for a musician. That's something that's cool to make. And so a lot of it was simply bootstrapped along the way that Taylor guitar's history started.
What sort of similarities and differences are there in developing electric signal chain for an amp versus building out an acoustic instrument?
They are different, and the components, the way you think about it, the way you put ingredients together are very different. And yet, at the same time, they're kind of alike in that you want to make a musically pleasing sound. That's the goal, is let's make something that's fun to play, that's inspiring, that's useful to a musician. That's when you win. That's what's good for a player to have. And so it is a similar process when you step back far enough and look at it and go, I want it to be pretty. I want it to sound good. I want it to feel good. I want to have fun when I play through it. It's not much more complicated than that. It sounds almost like the elementary school version or something, but as a guitar player, that's what I'm looking for. I want to have fun with these things. They're toys. It's fun and games.
And so this is a 2-channel amp, and it has a combo jack here, so you can plug in your vocals too. Are you a vocalist as well?
I like to stand next to the person who's singing. I'm a guitar player. It is, I'll sing songs. I love singing bedtime songs to my kids, that kind of thing. And of course, I'll sing along, but no, I'm not. I'm a far cry from a vocalist, but yes, I'll sing songs.
Yeah, when we were at, you guys did an event on Wednesday night and we popped by and I saw this poster hanging up and it said that when Taylor Guitars was started, Kurt was 19 and Bob was 21. Yeah. And so it's a pretty incredible place for you to be now, like the steward of this legacy of 50 years of Taylor Guitars. I'm just curious as to what from the past you want to hang on to and honor and what you really want to try to push for into the future.
That's an interesting observation because it's true. Bob and Kurt were both, barely out of their teenage years. So they're hardly even adults at that point, and they wanted to make a living making guitars. I was a kid. I wasn't even into my teenage years. When I started building guitars, I was never thinking about a job. And by the time I started thinking about a job, I went, oh, wait a minute. I'll just do this instead. I'll keep building the guitars that I love building. And so there's this element of almost naivety that feels right to a musician. It feels like a musical approach to building an instrument, building amps, building guitars, even building a company. You do it because you're passionate about it, not because you're going into it with the idea of, we're going to make a big company and make a lot of money and have a lot of employees. Mm-hmm. No, that wasn't the goal. Yeah. The goal was, let's make some inspiring instruments. Let's have fun with this. And so moving forward, that's what I love to keep in our kind of in the windshield. What we can see in the future is, well, let's do good. Let's do good by our employees, of course. Let's do good by the forest whose resources we love. Let's do good by this entire community of guitar players that love playing these instruments. That's what I want. I want to keep that first and foremost.
Very cool. Yeah, so it's a big anniversary. This is a beautiful collection of instruments and a very cool new amplifier. And I know that you guys are just sort of like itching to do even more. So can you give us just a sneak peek? I know like this is a lot, but like, can you give us a sneak peek onto the future?
Yes, there's more coming. I'll say it that way. These last couple of years it's a rewarding time to be working because for me, the process of building something is what leads to inventing. You don't just wake up in the middle of the night with an idea. Most of the time, you wake up with an idea that was related to what you're working on. So the more work that we do, the more guitars we make, the more designs we come up with. Every time you try something, it gives you 10 other things that you also have just got to try. And so throughout the course of this year and onward, there's going to be a lot of new instruments, a lot of neat things coming, a lot of really unique pieces, and some different ones too.
Well, Andy, as always, it's great talking with you. The 50th anniversary stuff is really cool. Really great new amplifier with the Circa 74 and lots more coming from Taylor Guitars later this year. Check out guitarcenter.com for all the latest or visit your local GC.